Daddy said that what happened that night must remain a secret, and that I mustn't tell anyone, but I. Nellie started to cry as she recalled the painful memory while talking. What do you mean? What happened? Actually, Dad was in my room. And then, Nellie revealed a truth that shocked me. I can't believe my husband would do such a thing. My husband still claims he sleeps in our daughter's room just to get some communication. To verify the testimony that my daughter bravely shared, I carefully removed my husband's pants late at night while making sure he didn't wake up. It's just as Nellie said. Then an unbelievable truth was discovered. My name is Ruby. My husband, Mike, was part of a strong school basketball team during his student days and once aspired to be a professional. Although he never realized his dream of becoming a professional, he still continues to play basketball as a hobby. Mike can be somewhat self-centered, often prioritizing his own interests over the family. We have one daughter, Nellie, and even as I struggled with my first experience of parenting, Mike would nonchalantly go out to play basketball as if parenting had nothing to do with him. Hey, you became a father, you know? Don't just prioritize your hobbies. Don't you think about doing some parenting? Huh? Childcare is your responsibility, isn't it? What's the point of being a stay-at-home mom? I'm working and stressed all week, let me have my freedom on the weekends. Indeed, I am a stay-at-home mom, but it was Mike who initially wanted me to quit my job and focus on the home. Yet, he has the nerve to berate me for not working and talking back to him, which is just cruel. However, even when I objected, Mike wouldn't change his mind, and instead, his outings only increased. Reluctantly, as Nellie grew old enough to go out, I began to attend Mike's basketball games with her. It's nice to see a wife and kid coming to watch the games, seems like a happy family. Oh, well, yeah. Perhaps not entirely displeased by his friend's comments, Mike was in a good mood when we showed up. Although he remained self-centered at home, deep down, despite some dissatisfaction with Mike, I put up with it thinking if it helped our family get along better. Thanks to this, our family maintained a seemingly peaceful day-to-day existence on the surface. Daddy, Daddy. One holiday, unusually at home, Mike was approached by Nellie, who had just started walking. Unsteadily, she accidentally stepped on Mike's foot. Though it was just the weight of a 1-year-old. Yet, Mike exploded in rage over his foot being stepped on. Are you kidding me? What if you injured my foot? Startled by being yelled at by her father, and not understanding why, Nellie began to cry in confusion. Hey! Don't yell like that just because a child stepped on your foot. Damn, it's your fault for not watching her properly, letting her walk around aimlessly like that. When I'm here, keep her confined somewhere. I understand that his feet are precious because of his basketball, but his reaction was excessive. But there's no way he could get injured just because a child stepped on his foot. Appalled by his utterly self-centered claim, I ignored Mike. As I picked up the sobbing Nellie and comforted her, saying it was going to be okay, Mike seemed displeased and left the house muttering complaints. To him, family comes second, and he always puts himself first. This selfish side of Mike, which had been hidden when we were dating, made me wonder if it was really okay to continue this marriage. But I couldn't deprive young Nellie of her father. I decided that I just had to endure it and tried not to anger Mike as much as possible. Then 10 years passed. Nellie was now in the upper grades of elementary school and growing up to be more ladylike every day. She started to develop her own little quirks, even sharing stories about boys she liked, showing her delightful progress. As for her relationship with her father, Mike, it was neither good nor bad. Mike continued to do as he pleased, spending his weekends on his hobbies, rarely being home. You guys being there makes it hard for me to focus on my play. You don't need to come watch the games anymore. While Nellie and I used to frequently watch his games when she was younger, recently, Mike had told us not to bother coming, and that stopped as well. I didn't particularly have an interest in basketball, my visits were more about appeasing Mike, so when he said no more visits, I quietly stopped going. This change meant Nellie and I could spend our weekends leisurely together, which honestly suited me better. However, around this time, our family began to receive malicious pranks from someone. Just this morning, when I went to pick up the newspaper, I found a plastic bag stuffed inside the mailbox. Again, who could it be? The contents, emitting a foul odor, were nothing but rotting garbage. Every few days, someone would put rotten garbage in our mailbox or attach slanderous letters at our entrance, which I had no memory of. Feeling the danger, I discussed it with Mike, but he laughed it off, saying, "It's just a prank, don't worry about it." He acted as if it was none of his business, because he was rarely home, which irritated me. I argued back, what if something happens to Nellie? It's definitely beyond just a prank. What if something happens to Nellie because we ignored this? I'm calling the police. No, don't do that. It's surely just temporary. If you call the police. When I mentioned calling the police, Mike visibly panicked. Why? I think it's better to consult them early and catch the perpetrator. No, be more careful. If we call the police, it might provoke the perpetrator and make things escalate. We should wait and see a bit longer. It didn't sit right with me, but Mike was so adamantly opposed to calling the police that I reluctantly agreed to wait a little longer. One day, after some time had passed, Mike suddenly said, a basketball scrimmage got scheduled in the neighboring county at the last minute. That's rather sudden. When will you be back? Probably the day after tomorrow. I guess. Mike's vague response about the sudden game made me suspicious. Pressing him would likely lead to being sidestepped or shouted at. So I kept silent and let him go, but Mike didn't return home until 3 days later. You didn't contact me, and you returned later than you said. What happened? I was worried. There were some troubles, and it delayed my return. My phone died, and I couldn't contact you. It couldn't be helped. Couldn't one of your teammates have had a charger? Couldn't you have borrowed it? No matter how much I questioned Mike about what he was doing, he kept making excuses and eventually ended the conversation irritably. Was he really at a basketball game? His dubious behavior only deepened my suspicions. That night, after he had returned, Mike suddenly said something inexplicable. I've been away for a while, so you must have been lonely. I'm going to sleep in Nellie's room from tonight. In Nellie's room? What's gotten into you all of a sudden? I've been dumping all the childcare on you, right? I know it's late, but I've been reflecting. I need to cherish my time with our daughter more. That's what I've been thinking. I was perplexed by his sudden change of heart, but Nellie seemed happy that her father would be sleeping in her room. It's my first time sleeping with Dad. I'm okay with it. Hey, Mom, it's okay, right? Although Nellie hadn't often expressed feeling lonely despite her father's frequent absences, she probably really missed him. Though I was still confused, seeing Nellie's reaction, I agreed to let Mike sleep in her bedroom. Previously, he would get upset just by Nellie touching his leg. What a change of heart, I wondered. Mike's strange behavior had another aspect. Previously, he would wear shorts around the house, but from that day, he started wearing long pants. It was strange because Mike usually prefers light clothing due to his dislike of heat. One day, when Mike was taking a bath, I went to the laundry area to wash clothes, and as he was about to leave the bath, he noticed me and quickly closed the bathroom door. Why are you here? Get out of here quickly! Mike told me to leave the laundry area in a flustered manner. His attitude was clearly different from before. What's the matter? It's not like you're embarrassed to be seen now, right? Weirdo. He seemed to be hiding something, but I couldn't figure out what it was. Since then, it became routine for Mike to sleep in Nellie's room instead of our bedroom. As Nellie didn't seem to mind, I let Mike do as he wished. However, I would come to deeply regret this decision later. A week after Mike started sleeping in Nellie's room, I received a call from Nellie's school. The call was from Nellie's teacher, who urgently requested that I come to the school as there was something important to discuss. Could something have happened at school? No, it couldn't be, it's not like Nellie to cause problems. Worried about what I might hear, I headed to the school, where the teacher asked me something unexpected. "Nellie seems a bit down lately. Is there something going on at home?" "Excuse me?" the teacher asked with a serious expression, but I had no idea what could be the cause. "She seems cheerful around me, but maybe she's hiding some concerns." I assured her teacher that I would keep an eye on her and left the school. Once home, I approached Nellie, who was watching TV in the living room. "Nellie? Your teacher mentioned that you've seemed down lately. Is there something bothering you? Can you talk to Mom about it?" I made sure to ask her gently, not wanting to sound accusatory. Initially, Nellie was silent, but then her expression shifted as if she had made up her mind. "Dad said that what happened that night should be kept a secret, and that I mustn't tell anyone. But I..." As she spoke, something seemed to recall a painful memory, and she began to cry softly. "What do you mean? What happened?" "Actually, Dad was in my room." And with that truth Nellie shared, I was struck by a profound shock. I decided to verify something to corroborate what Nellie had said. Mike still insists he sleeps in Nellie's room for communication with his daughter. Late one night, after confirming Mike was deeply asleep, I carefully removed his pants without waking him. What a thing! Just as Nellie said. For proof, I photographed Mike in his underwear with my phone. Turning on the bedroom light for the photo soon woke him up. "What's with the light?" "Hey, what are you doing?" "What am I doing? That should be my line. What is this supposed to mean? Explain it to me." Pointing at Mike's legs, I exclaimed. There were multiple painful-looking cuts from his shins up to his thighs. His sudden shift to wearing long pants, his adamant avoidance of being seen naked, was presumably to hide these wounds. "What are these cuts? What are you hiding?" "This is, I got hurt during a practice match." "Cuts from a match? They clearly look like they were made with a blade." Mike stubbornly maintained that the wounds were from a match. He said he had decided to sleep in Nellie's room until the wounds were less noticeable because he didn't want me to worry if I saw his injuries. And it seems he was changing his bandages while Nellie was supposed to be asleep but was accidentally seen by her, who was not yet asleep. Mike had told Nellie not to tell me because he thought he was attacked and hurt by someone, which had caused her to lose her spirit. Nellie is still in elementary school. The shock of suddenly seeing such raw, unexplained wounds on her father's legs must have been immense. Especially since she was told to keep quiet about it. Nellie, being a conscientious girl, probably struggled greatly with whether she should confide in me. "Don't make a big deal out of it. That's why I kept it quiet. This will heal quickly." That kind of response. Don't you realize how shocked Nellie is because of the strange way you're hiding this? Don't you care about that? That's the mother's job to deal with. Fine, I'm tired. Let me sleep already. Mike made a sulky face at my words, put on his pants, went back to bed, pulled the covers over himself, and fell asleep. Mike keeps making excuses, but something is definitely off. He must still be hiding something. Though the discussion ended, I was far from convinced by my husband's strained excuses, so I decided to secretly meet with Mike's teammate to hear the real story. What I discovered was unbelievable. According to the teammate, they hadn't had a practice match in the neighboring county recently, and moreover, Mike had been increasingly skipping basketball practices for a year. My husband, who had been frequently saying he was going out for matches. It turned out that it was all a lie. What does this mean? Where has Mike been going then? The mystery only deepened. Confronting him would likely not lead to a confession. However, I couldn't just let Mike go unchecked, so I decided to hire a private investigator to look into his affairs. The investigation revealed that for the past year, Mike had been having an affair. Mike lied about going to basketball practices and was frequently meeting secretly with Tally. Of course, you were hiding things from me. I confronted him with the investigative report and photos from the detective, showing Mike walking arm in arm with Tally, his affair partner, through the streets. What? How did you get this? Your strange behavior even affected Nellie. That's why I hired a detective. I can't believe you were having an affair. Shocked by the irrefutable evidence of his affair, Mike eventually admitted to his relationship with Tally. According to Mike, Tally was also the one repeatedly harassing our home. On the day he lied about having a practice match in the neighboring county, he was actually at a hotel with Tally. He confessed that during their last encounter, Tally attacked him multiple times with a survival knife, threatening, "If you don't leave your wife, I'll make sure you can't play in the matches." Those numerous cuts were apparently her retaliation for his unwillingness to divorce me. I'm a victim too. I never thought she would do something like this. It was just supposed to be a fling, but she got serious. Mike said this begrudgingly. But ultimately, it was Mike's fault for starting an affair with a single woman despite having a family. Yet, he didn't seem to think he was at fault at all. Tally, who had attacked Mike, had since fled. Given that the weapon was a survival knife, it could have been life-threatening. Luckily, the injuries weren't severe, but if I found out about the wounds, it would reveal his affair. Thinking this, Mike was forced to stay in a hotel until his injuries healed to some extent. Even after returning home, to avoid me seeing his legs, he decided to sleep in Nellie's room. He intended to keep his wounds a secret from Nellie too, but she accidentally saw them, and he reluctantly told her to keep quiet about it. But that had hurt my daughter's heart. If everything's out in the open now, it can't be helped. I've broken up with Tally, so don't worry about it anymore. I'll be coming home properly from now on. Mike said this trying to appease me, but I could never forgive him. Fearful of his affair being exposed, Mike hadn't reported Tally's actions to the police. That meant Tally was still at large, potentially planning to strike at Mike again. Perhaps next time, she might direct her vengeance towards me or Nellie. With that thought, I could no longer stay in this house. The next day, while Mike was at work, I packed my bags, left only the filled-out divorce papers behind, and left the house to pick up Nellie from school. I've been so scared ever since I saw the cuts on Dad's legs, wondering if someone was going to attack our family. I'm sorry, Nellie, for making you feel scared. From now on, I will definitely protect you. I squeezed Nellie's hand, which she uttered anxiously. Mike can't be relied upon. It's up to me to protect her. We explained our situation and decided to stay with my sister's family for a while. Later, when Mike, unaware of anything, returned home, Tally was waiting for him with a survival knife. How long will you make me wait? Divorce your wife now. Wait, just wait. Startled by Tally's frantic demeanor, Mike dashed out of the house screaming for help. Luckily, it was a busy time with many pedestrians around. Seeing Tally chasing Mike with a survival knife and screaming, someone quickly called the police, and Tally was arrested on the spot. When I learned about this on the news, I felt relieved, yet I shuddered at the thought that if we had delayed our escape, we too might have been harmed. But now that she's been caught, maybe it's time to lighten up and come back home. Mike began sending such messages daily. In his mind, everything was over, but I couldn't imagine getting back with a man who had betrayed his family and put us in danger. When I made it clear that there was no chance of rebuilding our relationship and that we could not continue as a couple, Mike threw a tantrum. Infidelity is something any man does. I'm not getting a divorce. I'm not in the wrong. I've torn up the divorce papers, so come back. Refusing to admit his faults, and persisting in not wanting a divorce, the negotiations dragged on and escalated to a lawsuit. However, the evidence of infidelity I had gathered secretly through a detective paid off, and the court fully recognized my claims. The divorce was finally granted, and Mike was ordered to pay me a substantial amount in alimony and child support. Until the end, Mike kept asking me and Amy to come back, but of course Amy had long since lost any affection for her father. I don't want to live with someone who made Mom suffer. You never really cared about us, did you? Such ingratitude. Have you forgotten all I've done for you, you ungrateful child? Whether hurt by Amy's words, Mike cursed his fate as a parent. I don't even remember being raised by you. I never want to see you again." Whether it was those final words that did it, realizing his daughter despised him, Mike slumped down, defeated. Later, the news reported that Tally, arrested for assault, showed no remorse. After serving her sentence, Tally said with a smile, "I want to meet Mike again. This time, we'll live happily together." Mike must have been horrified. Fearing Tally's release, Mike fled the town and his whereabouts since are unknown. We, too, moved far away with the help of my parents to ensure we never accidentally encounter Tally. Though it was unsettling to relocate, my daughter's safety and happiness were paramount. Accepting the uncertainties and difficulties was a small price for my child's well-being. Having moved, we started anew, turning over a new leaf in life. Amy, initially nervous due to the divorce and move, eventually adjusted to her new elementary school and made many friends, showing us her bright smile again. Having caused her so much pain, I now want to fill her life with joy. Though now a single mother, the competent lawyer ensured I received enough alimony from Mike to not face immediate financial troubles. I started a new job where we moved, making sure I was always home on time to spend quality time with Amy, ensuring she never felt lonely. Watching Amy happily munch on the dinner I prepared after returning from school and hearing about her fun day, I realized these simple, peaceful days are what truly matter.